Let's say like, you don't study for your tests, etc., because that's what you put on the back burner and you want to spend time with your friends. Then you start to fail and then you're ineligible and you're not able to play in the game. You see what I'm saying? And then that starts to affect you and you dug yourself into a hole. So
what was a day in the life of USC and being around normal kids and kids that are talented in certain things? So we are a liberal arts school. People are very talented and really cool, unique, like cinematic arts and broadcast. There's a lot of things that go around that a lot of other schools out there in the world don't have, especially with a top football program.
Yeah. And like people understand USC's not an average school, right? To go to USC, you have to be really rich, really smart, or both. There's no average person walking in those streets, right? Within the lanes to class. Like there's no average person. And, someone once told me my freshman year that really opened my eyes. The least successful people to leave USC are the student athletes that don't go pro for the most part. You see what I'm saying? Those are the ones that are the least successful. And obviously, like, there are some exceptions, and there are some student athletes that don't go pro that take advantage of it. But for the most part, especially like in the revenue generating sports like basketball, football, right, baseball, the student athletes that don't go pro, those are the ones that are least successful, leave the university. Not that they're not successful, just in comparison to their peers, they're not. Because the summers that we're training and we're working out, we're not able to maybe get the internships that we would like. Other students are getting those. They're getting the experiences. They're making the connections, right? They're getting that network. And then they're more prepared when they graduate, right? And they have more of a firm foundation to kind of build their life off of going into the future.
Did you have a moment from USC when meeting a kid in class or having meeting a teacher and just being like, wow, I'm at a school where this kid's not playing sports, but this kid's brilliant. We were worked on a project. Like, this is just so cool to go off of each other's differences and, a day in the life of each other. Where you're an athlete, but you also care about school. Did you have moments like that dealing with, top students and just different kids?
Yeah, no, like all the time, every day. Like, it'd blow your mind. Like, this person is brilliant. Like, this person is truly like a genius. So many different people, whether it was friends that I had that were in the Ivan Young Academy, right? The Center for Innovation. Like, those kids were like genius level kids in Mensa in high school, etc. So yeah, it was really humbling. And I thought I was smart, and I still do believe that I am. But these guys just were so creative. It was like a pure expression of ingenuity. So yeah, it was awesome to experience.
What was your major?
Business administration, finance and strategic management concentration.
So what were your 3 favorite classes at USC?
Yeah, definitely. It was, what was it called? BU 8302, which is business strategy and communication, which is awesome. It teaches you how the soft skills needed in order to be a business executive one day. And then also our strategy class, what was it called? It was an MO, I can't remember, but it was our strategy class in which we reviewed a lot of different case studies from businesses that were struggling and tried to figure out kind of what the problems were. I'd say those are my top 2 classes.
Did you say if you would have gone to any other schools, you wouldn't have these classes?
I just don't know. You see what I'm saying? Like, I just don't know. And that's something like I want to know. And
did you have any best friends that went to all these other top schools, went to Georgia, went to Alabama?
Yeah.
Like, comparing your experiences with theirs, regardless of football, what any differences? Like,
yeah, I'd ask them how hard their classes were. Oh, it's not that bad. You know what I mean? As long as you go to class and you do your work, you should be fine. Where like that was the bare minimum. If you wanted to barely pass, that's what you did at USC.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like, you go to work, you do that and then some just to put yourself in position to maybe get a C or a B. You had to really kill it in the class to get it.
Especially when there was a curve.
Yeah, especially when there was a curve.
99% of classes getting an A on that test. And when there's a curve, you're getting screwed if you get a B+.
Exactly. So it was, like I said, I've never struggled academically. And not like I struggled when I was here, but A's would come like this to me when I was in high school. And here, yeah, man, it was difficult. I got more B's than I got A's, and it was something I had to, get used to. So
for kids that want to know what a typical day in the life of a Division I athlete, especially someone like you that's well-rounded, cares about their school, was it hard to juggle football and academics, or also it depends on what your major is? I know kids that did architect, they have no life. It's super hard, or pre-med. Was it functional to do both at the same time? Did you see a lot of athletes in the football program studying with each other and caring for school?
I feel like it depends on the degree that you have, honestly. I was in the business school, which is, I'd say, one of the better schools at USC. Some guys, they were, doing African-American studies, gerontology or whatever, so they had maybe less of a workload on them. I know for me it was difficult, especially the first year I was there, having to take business calculus, having to take operations, right? And this is some of the times you have to take it during the season. And it's like having 2 full-time jobs. And the thing people don't understand is like the business student that you ask to come to study business, that's all you ask him to do, right? The engineering student, that's all you ask to do is to study engineering. We're asked to study business, or I was at least, and then also play football, which is a full-time job in and of itself. You're giving 40 hours a week to it. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like the interest is divided and something has to give, right? You have 4 things I feel like that are essential, right? You have school, you have football, you have your social life because you are an organism, a human being, right? You need social connection. Then you have sleep. But the thing is, you can only choose 3 as a student athlete. Only 3 of them that you can choose. So something has to give. Sometimes it's your sleep, right? Sometimes it's your school. Sometimes it's your football performance. But all 4 of them, if you will, are essential. And
so what was like your day in a life? Like, take me through a Monday through Friday of what you did during primetime season, primetime schooling.
Yeah, I mean, like, sorry, you'd wake up and obviously you had like a morning run, right? You had the morning runs in the morning, and then boom, you would shower, you get breakfast, and some people had 8 a.m.s, so 8 a.m. classes. You go to class, and we usually had our class blocked from like 8 to 2. So those are the only times we could take classes from within those 6 hours, right? And then after you finish class, hopefully you had 30 minutes, etc., before 2 o'clock to eat lunch, and then we'd start meetings from 2 to 4, practice from 4 to 6, and then from 6 to like 7 or whatever, we would watch film. Do you see what I'm saying? And that was how it was like every day.
Where'd you study?
Well, then afterwards, from 7 to like 10, that's when you had study hall, right? And during that period of time, you either had a tutor, you had a learning specialist. Those are the times that you had to complete your work, and that would repeat every single day. So
that's Monday through Thursday. Friday's a travel day.
Exactly, right? And
I assume you probably don't study on Fridays, and that's just not.
No, there's no chance. Your mind is on the game. But you think about it like that's from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., right?
You're nonstop.
So people say, oh, investment banking is so hard. Well, this is basically like investment banking hours. Like this is 12, that's 16-hour days. And
your body's getting destroyed through it. It's not like you're healthy, going 100%. Like physical, you're destroyed.
Mental and emotional grind. It's not just, mentally it's a psychological warfare. No, you're having that, and you're also having a physical grind. Because and then you're in practice, and you can get, hurt, or you see what I'm saying, you're sore from practice. So it's just like a complete whirlwind. It really will test the strength of your soul, right? So it's, yeah.
All right, so USC is a beast of itself, because you're saying you go from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. every single day. That's with a perfect world. Everything's going well, especially when you're not getting injured. But things come with, mental health issues. And I know right now in this world, people have a lot of mental health issues, and trying to stay with a good mindset. How do you deal with that on a daily basis as an athlete, as a Division I football player? Because all you see, like media is a big thing. Like USC, they sucked for a couple of years, and people would go off on them. They'd win a game. People are now loving them. Players too. Players have a bad game, and now you're getting, shot on the internet saying you're awful. You probably had to deal with that, and had to deal with friends dealing with that, like JT Daniels when he got injured and all these things. How do you deal with that in the mindset of mental health?
Yeah, and like I was telling you before, like there's 4 things that are essential, I feel like, for your well-being, while you're in college, especially if you're a student athlete. Obviously, 1 is sleep. 2 is being able to do good in school. 3 is your sport. And then 4 is your social connection. And like I said, you can only really choose 3. Something has to give. And when something gives, it will eventually, inevitably end up infecting your mental health. Because if you don't feel like you're prepared, because let's say football takes a back burner, then when they start calling plays and you're in and you don't know the play to run, then you start to have anxiety. You see what I'm saying? Or let's say like, you don't study for your tests, etc., because that's what you put on the back burner and you want to spend time with your friends. Then you start to fail, and then you're ineligible and you're not able to play in the game. You see what I'm saying? And then that starts to affect you, and you dug yourself into a hole. So the mental health is going to be challenged, and the state of your mind will definitely be in the crucible of the fire. So I feel like going into it, you have to understand that and have a good plan, right? Whether it's in the morning, waking up and just breathing and just practicing recentering yourself or whatever it is, just so that when these things come, because they will, that you'll be prepared and they won't affect you as much as they might affect some other people, because some people never recover. Right. And they never end up reaching their potential because they were plagued not by anything or anybody else, but their own mind.
you think media gets involved in this? Do you think media takes a big part in a lot of your friends? USC is a media capital of the world. It's UCLA also. Like LA schools, you have a million people on top of you expecting you, just like a pro athlete, to do well.
Sure, yeah, the pressure is definitely there, and I feel like that's what plays into it. The pressure, the expectation that you have. So that's also obviously a factor, and you have good and you have bad games, and I feel like we do learn how to shut things out, and after you have a bad game, you expect that, so you might take Twitter, Instagram, or whatever off of your phone. But yeah, the pressure is probably the biggest factor, which is it can make or break you.